Hi everyone, it's Miss Ariel from the Genoa Branch Library. I'm going to be doing story time during summer reading, so let's jump into it. I have a couple of books about some fairy tales that you might know. Let's find out. I have Cinderella's Big Foot by Laura North and Martin Rumprey. Once upon a time, Cinderella lived with her two evil stepsisters. They made her wear rags and clean the kitchen all day. "Scrub those pots," said one stepsister. "Clean up this mess," ordered the other. One day, a golden invitation to the royal ball arrived. "Cinderella, you stay here, and you clean while we meet the prince," laughed the evil stepsisters. "I wish I could go to the ball," sobbed Cinderella. And suddenly, a woman with wings appeared in a puff of smoke. "I'm your fairy godmother." "Poor Cinderella, you will go to the ball," she said kindly. She tapped her wand 3 times, and Cinderella's dirty rags became a beautiful white dress. Her shoes sparkled with diamonds. Cinderella rushed off to the ball without thanking her fairy godmother. Well, that's not very nice. She had one thing on her mind: the prince. "The prince fell in love with me because I am so beautiful," boasted Cinderella. All the girls wanted to meet the prince, but Cinderella pushed them aside. "He's mine," she yelled. The handsome prince saw Cinderella stomp on girls' toes and pull another girl's hair. But the prince fell in love with her anyway. She didn't let anyone else near him. They danced all night. Then, as the clock struck 12, Cinderella's lovely dress turned back into rags. She ran in shame. She was in such a hurry that one of her shoes fell off as she ran. That must have not been very comfortable. The next day, there was a loud knock on Cinderella's door. It was the prince. "My true love lost her shoe," he declared. "I will marry the girl whose foot it fits." "Get out of my way," said Cinderella, pushing past her stepsisters. She moved her tiny foot toward the tiny shoe. Suddenly, there was a bang and a puff of smoke. The fairy godmother was back. I don't know about you, but fairy godmother does not look too happy. "Cinderella," she said, "you are just as mean as your stepsisters. You don't deserve to marry the prince." And the fairy godmother tapped her magic wand 3 times, and Cinderella's foot grew and grew and grew. "Now your foot is too big for the shoe. You've gotten too big for your boots," laughed her evil stepsisters. "Oh, fairy godmother, I know I've been bad," wept Cinderella. "If you shrink my foot back, I'll never be horrible again." "Very well," the fairy godmother replied, "if you promise to be kind, even to your stepsisters." And a week later, there was a royal wedding. Cinderella kept her word. She invited her stepsisters and even let them be her bridesmaids. But they were just as rude and horrible as before. The end. Well, that was an interesting one. How about we read another? I have Snow White Sees the Light by Karen Wallace and Andy Rowland. Snow White put down her broom and sighed. Every day, the 7 dwarves left muddy boots in the kitchen and dropped their jackets on the floor. I don't know about you, but that looks like a big mess to clean up after. They never took off their hats. They only wanted to be fed. "What's cooking? I'm starving. Hurry up!" When they sat at the table, all the dwarfs had terrible manners, and they never ever cleared the table or helped wash the dishes. One day, Snow White lost her temper. "All you want is a housekeeper," she cried. "You don't care about me." The dwarfs stared at her in amazement. "It definitely looks like something is happening." "But we adore you," said one. "You're the loveliest in the land," cried another. "We'd be lost without you," said a third. "Ha!" cried Snow White, but she went to put a pie in the oven anyway. Far away, a wise queen lived in a castle. She believed that everyone in her kingdom should share in the cooking and cleaning. That way everyone would be happy. One day, the queen picked up her magic mirror. "Mirror, mirror in my hand, does someone need me in my land?" "Snow White needs you," replied the mirror right away. "The 7 dwarves are treating her like a slave." I don't know if you can see that, but she does not look very happy. The queen visited Snow White. "Why do you let the dwarves get away with it?" she asked. "They say they'd be lost without me," replied Snow White. "We'll see about that," said the queen. She cut a piece out of a magic apple. "Pretend you've been poisoned and see what the dwarves say when they find you." That evening, the 7 dwarfs marched in the door, kicked off their boots, and shouted for their supper. Then they saw Snow White lying on the floor with the apple beside her. What do you think is going to happen? Let's find out. "Oh no!" cried the dwarfs. "That apple is poisoned! Snow White is dead!" And they all burst into tears. "Who's going to cook our food? Who's going to clean our house? Who's going to wash our clothes?" Snow White got up from the floor and gave the 7 dwarfs a long, hard stare. "Wash your own clothes," she said. "I'm leaving." And guess what? Snow White found a nice, considerate prince and lived happily ever after. So it's nice to take turns, huh? The end. Well, I think that was a great story time, and I will see you all next week for another. Until then, see ya. Bye.